Hello everyone and welcome to another Asus Transformer Prime video. In many of the videos that I've shown you I've been using a SNES emulator, and a lot of you have been questioning how on earth I get one of these to work on the emulator like this. So as you can see, the controls are on the touchpad on the screen. I don't want to use them, I'm using a controller instead. And it's working absolutely fine, all the buttons are mapped properly, and I can play about as usual, and it's essentially playing on a SNES with a PlayStation controller. So let's go into a bit more detail about how on earth I'm able to do this. First things first then, just to clarify, some people have been asking me how on earth I'm using a PlayStation 3 controller and does Bluetooth work on a Prime? Well, the answer is I think it does. But I don't know the answer completely because I'm not using a PlayStation 3 controller. I'm using an old PlayStation 1 controller. As you can see, I've got the lead here, and it's just a regular dual analog one. It's probably about 10 years old. As you can see, some of the rubbers come off one of my sticks, so it's a very old device that I'm using. What I am using to plug it into the Prime is this. It is a... I'll just bring it right to the camera, a Boom PlayStation and N64 converter. So I used this on the PC probably about 10 years ago to plug it into the computer and use the controller. So I'm not sure if this is still out, so this could be a very unique situation I have here, but for me it does work, and I'll just demonstrate now. I'll plug it into the tablet. As you can see, the lights come on. That's to indicate that I'm going to be using the PlayStation side of the controller. So in we pop there, and so the controller's in, but as you'll see, oh well, that's new. As you can see, it does work to some extent actually on the controller. Now, none of this is mapped. I don't know how it's doing this. I can't explain how it's working on the Prime at the moment. If I turn on the analog stick, I know that I can use the analog sticks to scroll a little bit. But as you can see, it's not too reliable, and none of the other buttons seem to work, so I can't sort of select any program. So there's no way to map this unless there is an application out there to do that. So if you know of an application, please do let me know. So let's actually go on to the application I want to use, which is SNES Droid. We should go into. I was previously playing it, of course, as you can see. Now what I'm going to do is, this might be a bit tricky, but I'm going to just zoom into the screen a little bit, and I'm going to go to the options. When I find them, here we go, settings, and what we can do here is, if we see here, this is configure touch input, and then below we have configure key and gamepad input. So this is where the SNES Droid actually sort of comes into itself, that you can actually map everything. So the benefit I have here, I'm just making a bit of a mistake there. So here we have everything here is mapped, and I don't know if you can see this, but at the top here we have player 1, the A button is mapped to a code. If I press on that, it's now going to ask me to press any button to remap it, and this is where we can start mapping it. So press that button and it's coded to the PlayStation now. It was already coded, obviously, I don't need to change anything here, but you can clearly see that by me pressing buttons, the Prime is receiving the input and then coding it. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm not sure how many other games have the ability to map to like the keyboard or the input. So that's the only reason why this controller is working on the SNES Droid. So I hope that clears up that particular issue. Now let's have a look at something else. Okay, so what you're seeing here is OnLive. I've shown you OnLive Desktop before, which is using a cloud-based PC on your Prime. This is to play video games on your Prime over the cloud. Now, the problem has been that I've not really been able to demonstrate this because I've not found a way to properly map the controller to OnLive. If you watch here, I can navigate, as it looks like here. I've not been able to do any mapping, it just seems to be taking these instructions. If I go to the marketplace, and then let's scroll down and play a game, or try and play a game. I'll just select that one and try the free trial. It's just starting up here, and I do intend to do a proper look at this on live experience when I can use a controller with it. I may have to go out and buy another controller to see if I can get it working. This is as much of a exploration into this application and using a controller as it is for you, so if anybody has any advice, preferably if it involves free advice where I don't have to spend any money, then that would be brilliant. As you can see now, the controls here on the right hand side, but I don't want to use those controllers. I want to use the very thing I have in my hand. So let's see if it's going to work. So I'm pressing buttons here, hoping that I can try and advance, but as you can see, nothing is happening. So this is the problem I have. I've got sort of up and down navigation, but I haven't got any controls beyond that. I'd have to start using these buttons here, presumably to progress. So as you can see, I'm essentially, you can see that I can use these controls here, but I can't use anything now on here. And that's for entering text, so that's no good. So I'm stuck now, the controller's not working at this point. Let's see if I can go back to the on live bit. I've got to be honest, I'm a bit lost here. Okay, so I'm onto the options now, and I would imagine that I'm supposed to go to settings and try and, let me just make that a bit brighter, and then try and navigate somewhere here. But as you can see, all I have are audio and video controls. I don't have any controller options, so I can't try and attempt to get this controller working, which is quite a bit of a shame. So that's effectively the end of the on live demonstration, because I can't demonstrate it at the moment. So any feedback and suggestions would be fantastic on that. Okay, I just have one more thing I want to show you. So a little while ago I showed you that this had a PlayStation controller port, but it also has an N64 controller port. So what I'm going to do now is to demonstrate the greatest console game ever made. Yes, this is indeed GoldenEye for the N64, running on a Transformer Prime using an N64 controller. Now, don't get too excited about this, because first of all, the emulator that I'm running, which I can't remember what it's called, I think it's simply called N64 emulator. It doesn't run the game that well. It's a bit slow. The frame rate's not, well, the frame rate's okay, and the graphics, as you can see, are pretty nice. I'll just zoom in a little bit more and then bring the controller in. So let's show you how it works. So as you can see, the controller is working a game. And I did map it using the functions on the application itself. I'll just zoom out again so you can see it. The problem is that the analog stick doesn't work that well, because I can't, if I just try and, I think I'm doing a pretty good demonstration of that now, I can't use diagonals, and the analog is either on or off, so it's not the fact that I can't move it a little bit to one side, it goes all the way to one side or the other. So effectively the analog stick doesn't work as an analog stick, so this game would be pretty unusable in the most difficult bits. But as you can see, I can still walk around and kill people, and it does work to a certain point. So just to demonstrate that the Asus Transformer Prime potentially could be an N64 console emulator as well, but it just needs a little help with the mapping of this controller. And again, if anyone can offer me advice on how to do this, I would certainly appreciate it, and then I can use this a little bit more. Okay, that's the end of the demonstration. I hope you found it useful, me just clarifying what you've maybe seen in previous videos about me using this little gizmo here to use an N64 controller, as you've just seen now, and a PlayStation controller as well. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you again soon in another video.